Hello, welcome to another video. Today I will be talking about the different types of scholarships that are available in Korea. Actually, I'll be talking about two because we have many different types of scholarships in South Korea. So as not to make this video long, I'll limit myself to two important ones. Maybe I'll have to make another video. So I'll be explaining the process for application and what are the details as far as the scholarship is concerned if you happen to obtain any of the scholarships. So please make sure you stay to get the details. And if you know you've not yet subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do so. This is to make sure that the channel continues to run. The Korean Government Global Scholarship is a scholarship offered by the Korean government to foreigners who might be interested in doing their undergraduate or graduate programs in South Korea. There are two ways to apply for this program. You can either apply through the embassy or apply directly to the university. What you need to do is look for an embassy that is in your country, a Korean embassy that is in your country. In case you don't have an embassy in your country, you might want to travel to a neighboring country that has an embassy that is covering your country, and then fill out the application form and then equally submit the supporting documents. But before you do that, you would have to make sure that you look for the universities that are covered by the Korean government scholarship, because usually it's not every university that is in Korea that is covered by the KGSP scholarship. Actually, because Korea has more than 200 universities. Obviously, the government cannot cover all of the universities, so there is usually a pool of universities. You have to look for a university that you might be interested in studying, and then look for the program and then fill out the application form. You can actually equally do it at home. You fill out the application form and then you just go and hand it with the accompanying documents to the embassy. Or if you don't want to go through the embassy process, you can actually go to the university's website, get the application form from the government website first, and then go to the university's website, look for the program that you might be interested in, and then make sure that you fill out the application form. And then what will happen after your application process is that the university will have a review of your documents, and if you get accepted, you then have to go and apply for a visa in the embassy. And after getting your visa, you have to travel to South Korea. After traveling to South Korea, you have to come and study Korean language in a university that is completely different from the university that you applied for to study in either the undergraduate or master's level. So for example, let's say you applied to study engineering at the master's level in Seoul University. You might be sent to Korean National University to study Korean language first for 1 year. After studying Korean language for 1 year, then you move to Seoul National University to do your engineering program. Why is it that you have to study Korean language? I think basically since Korea uses Korean language, you would need Korean language for your daily activity. Even though it's equally true that you find a lot of Koreans who speak English. But from my personal experience, I think Korean language will be of benefit to you if you study it. So what are the advantages that comes with this scholarship? If you succeed in this scholarship, you would have to travel to South Korea and study Korean language, like I already said, for 1 year, and then you would study engineering for 2 years at the master's level, and then you will have a monthly allowance of $1,000. That's $1,000 on a monthly basis. This is to help you maybe look for a room to rent, and then to equally help take care of your basic needs like feeding and the rest. You might have the question, when is the application period? For the undergraduate, the application period is between September and October. And then for the graduate, that's master's and PhD, the application period is usually February, March. And it is important for you to know that application is just once a year, which means if you miss it, you would have to wait until the next year before you can apply. So it's important for you to keep the date. The second type of scholarship is what I call the professor scholarship. Basically, what happens is that every year the Korean government usually sponsors universities in Korea to carry out research. So professors are always on the look for students around the world for the professors to like offer them admission to travel to South Korea for research purposes while they are studying. So you're actually researching while doing your master or PhD. How is the application process for this professor scholarship? Normally, you have to equally do the same thing. You look for the university that you might want to study at, look for the program, and then try to get the professor's email or contact number, and then reach out to the professor, make your intention known that you would want to do your master or PhD. So the professor would ask you to maybe email your documents, probably your degree and transcript, for review. After reviewing your documents, the professor would then tell you to apply formally. What do I mean by applying formally? You would have to send your documents directly to the international center of the university, because every university has an international office. It is the international office that will then equally review your documents and then offer you the admission. I'll equally give you the advantages and disadvantages of the two types of scholarships. I'll give you the advantages of the KGSP, which is the Korean Government Global Scholarship, and then the professor's type of scholarship at the end of the video. So make sure you continue watching to know the differences between the two types of scholarships. It is important to remember that this type of scholarship, the professor scholarship, is very common for those that are in the science field, because Korea is a country that is still developing, so they are like doing a lot of research. So they are like very much research oriented. So you always have the government financing universities to carry out research on maybe cancer or maybe different types of heart disease or brain diseases. So they are always in need, professors are always in need of students who would assist them in doing research in one or two fields. So what is the difference between the two types of scholarship? That's the Korean Government Global Scholarship or KGSP and the professor's type of scholarship. The only difference is that with the Korean Government Global Scholarship, it is the government that is paying you the money, which means you have a bit of laxity as far as studying is concerned. But with the professor's scholarship, you are working in the professor's lab, which means, according to the Korean culture, if you're like in an office or even in the lab or class, in most cases the professor has to leave before you would leave, which means like it's the norm here. Most people leave their labs, like most people go to their labs at 10 in the morning and only leave at about 9 or 10 in the evening. So if a situation happens where the professor decides to leave the lab at maybe 1 o'clock, you might have to leave the lab at 1 a.m. But those are situations that are very rare. They don't occur that very often. So you don't need to worry about that. What is important is that you're studying for free, so you have to take advantage of that opportunity and get yourself educated. For the professor scholarship, it is tuition free, and then for the master's program or undergraduate, the monthly allowance can range from $500 to maybe $1,500, and then for the PhD program, it can range from $1,000 to up to $2,500. It all depends on the professor, because it's the professor that will decide on the amount that you'll be receiving as monthly allowance. If you're lucky to have a professor who, yeah, you know what I mean. So that's it about scholarship, and I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you don't forget to subscribe.